s'il vous plaît.
Caitlin Clark's comeback game had high expectations, but what unfolded left fans with more questions than answers. Caitlin Clark's return to the court was supposed to bring a spark, but what fans saw was far from inspiring. Indiana looked completely out of sync, and Clark was placed in a role that didn't play to her strengths. Instead of leading the offense, she was used off the ball, a decision that disrupted her flow and left the team struggling to find rhythm. The result, a stagnant offense and a flat defense. While Coach Stephanie White is typically known for her leadership, this time she got outcoached by a rookie head coach. Golden State's defensive pressure completely unraveled the Fever, and they failed to adjust. The final score, an 80-61 loss to an expansion team making its first appearance, sent a clear message. Despite a sold-out crowd of over 16,000, fans eager to witness Clark's return, the performance didn't match the hype. Indiana managed just 19 points in the entire second half, and their shooting woes continued, hitting only 6 of 27 from long range for a game that should have been a showcase. It ended up exposing deep issues on both ends of the floor.
You know, a team like Golden State, who's really solid defensively, who try to force you into tough twos. When we drew them into the paint, you know, we tried to shoot over 4 or 5 people instead of seeing our easy passes out. Sometimes we've seen, you know, with our group that physicality lends us to getting tunnel vision. So we got to continue to work that.
It wasn't just the scoreline that stung, it was the missed opportunity. Key players were back in the rotation, including Damiris Dantas, fresh off a standout run with Brazil at the AmeriCup. Though the original plan was to ease her in, Indiana's rebounding issues forced her onto the floor. But the main spotlight was on Caitlin Clark, returning after missing 5 straight games, including the Commissioner's Cup final. She ended with 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, but clearly wasn't in full rhythm, playing in controlled bursts over 25 minutes. She's still building back her conditioning. Yet opposing teams are showing no mercy, full court presses, traps at midcourt, and constant defensive attention. But this isn't just on Clark. Indiana's continued inability to execute against pressure is a team-wide concern. From roster shuffles like Dana Evans' departure to Ari McDonald's emergency signing, the Fever have faced changes. But that doesn't explain the recurring breakdowns. It's time for everyone to step up.
It felt good to be out there. I thought we started really well. I thought we were competitive. I thought we played with energy in the first 5 minutes. And then, you know, when they kind of went on their first run, it kind of deflated us a little bit, which I'm not really sure why. But the offense, I think, you know, for us, like, it starts on defense. And we, you know, struggled, you know, scouting report-wise. We struggled personnel. We struggled to do what the coaches asked of us, and then, you know, overall, like, we just played with more energy and effort, and, you know, those are the things that just can't happen. So, you know, it's every single person on our team, and, you know, nobody played well today, and, you know, you should look yourself in the mirror and find ways where you can get better, and come back to practice tomorrow and then play again on Friday.
There were flashes of hope, moments where Indiana had a real chance to shift momentum. In the second quarter, they tied it up at 32, but Golden State responded with a 9-0 run to close the half. And in the third, just when the Fever closed the gap to 5, the Valkyries exploded with a 15-0 run to blow the game open. Turnovers hurt to 14 in total, 6 of them in the second quarter alone. Defensively, the Fever lacked focus, missed rotations, and sluggish responses allowed Golden State to take over. In the postgame press conference, Coach White repeatedly pointed to one core issue: lack of competitive fire. You can't diagram that on a whiteboard. It has to come from within the team. And right now, that fire is missing.
I was disappointed because I felt like there was a lack of competitive fire. You know, with the exception of about 2 5-minute spurts. Our attention to detail was poor. I'm not sure if it's not knowing the game plan as much as, because if it's not knowing the game plan, then that's a whole other conversation, as much as not executing the game plan. Our attention to detail, undisciplined. You know, I felt like our energy and our competitive fire was not there, and that's disappointing.
Coach White didn't mince words. She highlighted to short stretches of energy, but said the overall discipline, execution, and urgency were far from acceptable. One notable change was made to the starting 5. Lexi Hull, often seen alongside Clark, was moved to the bench. Instead, the team ran a 3-guard setup with Clark, Ari McDonald, and Kelsey Mitchell, hoping to balance the floor and ease the pressure on Clark. In theory, the strategy makes sense, and McDonald has played well since returning, bringing intensity and capitalizing on her minutes. If that continues, she may keep her spot in the starting lineup. Another standout, Michaela Timpson. She gave Indiana solid minutes again, her 5th straight game with impact time, and with the team being dominated on the boards, her presence was needed. Indiana was out-rebounded by 11 and allowed 10 offensive boards in the second half. One of those led directly to the run that buried the Fever. Even in a rough game, Timpson showed something worth building on.
I think she's been tremendous. The athleticism that she has, she blocks shots, she gets her hands in passing lanes, and I think she's still navigating kind of how we're playing and figuring that out and getting minutes under her belt, but she's going to be a great asset for us as we go forward here, and I'm just really proud of her. She comes in every single day, works as hard as she can, is a great teammate, and when her numbers get called, she's really produced. So it's really awesome to see the way she's playing, and I know she'll keep it up going forward.
For every young player, coming into the league, particularly post position, it's learning the feel and her ability to continue to grow, continue to get her work in outside of practice time with Keith, our player development coach. And being ready when her number's called. You can see she's got really good instincts on the defensive end of the floor. She's continuing to find her way on the offensive end of the floor. She's bouncy, so she gives us a different type of look, on the interior. And there's no substitute for experience. So in some areas where opponents might take advantage, it's just experience. And I think she's come so far in these last 4 or 5 games and anticipate her continued growth.
Once again, effort was the issue. Second chance points and rebounding weren't just stats, they were symptoms of a larger problem. When the Fever don't shoot well and don't get strong contributions from their top players, they simply don't win. The numbers back it up. Indiana is now 1-7 when they shoot worse than their opponent. And in this game, 6-for-27 from 3 just wasn't going to cut it. Now the excuses are gone. The team is healthy, Caitlin Clark is back, and it's time to perform. She's still managing a groin injury and probably won't be at full strength for a while, especially with All-Star Weekend being hosted in Indiana. There are 4 more games before the break. Atlanta at home, then Dallas on national TV, followed by road trips to Connecticut and New York. The stretch won't be easy, and it starts with accountability. Expect the film room and practice floor to be intense this week. And with Atlanta on the schedule one final time before the break, it's now or never.
Getting a scout on every player, and I think collectively we didn't do a good job at taking away the stuff that their team likes to do and making them do things they don't want to do. We didn't do a good job of that. We also gave up some timely offensive rebounds that they do a great job of kicking it out, getting open looks, getting open threes late in the game. I think it really just comes down to effort and us not locking in mentally and following the scouting report. Our team, we have a lot of inconsistency. We raise the occasion when we're playing for 30,000, and then we need to bring that level of focus and that level of energy every single day. It's really hard to win in this league, and I think, we need to focus every game because all of these games matter when September, October comes. So it's really just going to come to us, and we really need to regroup, turn the page, learn from this, and come with a better mindset on Friday.
Hey, at this point, you have to consider the possibility that the Indiana Fever are in on the plot to destroy Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White is an idiot, should be fired. This woman played Ari McDonald 18 minutes in the first half. 3 weeks ago, Ari McDonald wasn't on a WNBA roster. The entire Fever roster is healthy. And Ari McDonald plays 18 minutes in the first half, throws Caitlin Clark and the chemistry between Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston completely out the window. They get beat by 19 points by an expansion team at home. There is a plot to destroy Caitlin Clark, and Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever might be in on it. They just laid down, did not play. Stephanie White, someone needs to walk her into a room and say, hey, look here, baby girl, I know you and Lisa Salters got this thing going on, but Ari McDonald is not Lisa Salters' daughter. That's not her niece. That's not her daughter. That's not a baby version of Lisa Salters. That's a woman that should be lucky she's on a WNBA roster. Ain't no way she should be in our starting lineup. This is a joke and a disaster of a season. I don't know if it's fixable. They all hate Caitlin Clark.
Another disappointing outcome, 80-61. After hovering above .500, Indiana drops to 9-10 and loses the momentum they'd started to build. And at this point, it's impossible to ignore the tension. Some fans are starting to wonder, is Caitlin Clark really being positioned as the leader of this team? Or is there something deeper holding her back? From how the offense is run to how minutes are distributed, the questions are getting louder. It's time to hear from you. What do you think? Is the franchise fully committed to building around Clark, or is there an internal disconnect? Drop your thoughts in the comments and keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more sharp and honest coverage from the world of women's basketball.